Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great. So finally I'm back with another video, and in this one we are going to discuss about the most crucial 10 days just before your regulations exam. So in my last video I posted about aviation meteorology last 10 days exam preparation, and you guys really appreciated it. I feel really grateful. Thank you so much. And as per your suggestion and your recommendations, I have now planned to make another video on this air regulations. So here I am with the new video, and I hope it will be helpful for you all. Okay, so talking about the tips and tricks to crack this exam. First of all, for the last 10 days, it's a very crucial advice to don't let any gap come in between these 10 days. Okay, just be consistent with your studies. Otherwise, you'll tend to forget some of the other things, because you know it's a vast syllabus and all, and we have to cover entire thing. We cannot leave anything for the last one day, so you have to keep revising the stuff every day. Another one, focus on the back questions of that are given chapter wise, and also at the end of the book the sample papers. Okay, so these two things have to be practiced thoroughly, because reading the theory can help you in some bit, but yeah, practicing more and more of questions, they have a lot of positive results. They can make you confident. They give you an idea of how many questions of what type can arise, and all the important questions are repeated three times, I think, in RK Bali. And this is a very secret tip that I discovered myself. Okay, that was a joke. It's nothing like that. Practice all the questions, and these are really efficient in cracking the exams in the first go. For the study tips and the management things, I've talked about these tips already in my previous video, that is the MET video. You can just follow the same tips again. And now finally moving forward to the book to which we are referring, and this one, Air Regulations by RK Bali. So this is a complete book in itself which covers the entire syllabus, and personally I would recommend this for air regulations to everyone. This covers the entire syllabus. It is a bulky book, and it gives you some extra knowledge only. It is precise to covering the syllabus, part of covering the syllabus, but yeah, it gives you an extra advantage over so many things, like in radio telephony also some of the phraseologies are given in this, and they might help you in future. So yeah, this book always. Okay, so following the same pattern, we'll be going sequence wise, and I'll be making you write all the important topics. You can just note it down, take a notepad or something, or you could just take a screenshot at the end of the description. Okay, so let's begin. So starting sequence wise, the first important topic is conventions with their year. These are the most important thing in regulations to be remembered. Conventions, a lot of their Tokyo, Warsaw, Rome, everything, the Montreal Protocol, all these with the years are very important to remember. Another one, documents carried in aircraft. I think there are 7 to 8 documents, and you need to know each one of them. ICAO objectives, when it was made, all about it, where's the headquarters located, all about ICAO, and again about DGCA as well. And if you can study about Airports Authority of India, though I don't think that is much important in comparison to ICAO and DGCA, sorry, but yeah, if you remember it, then it's well and good. Again, all the annexures with their names, 17 to 19 annexures are there, I don't remember exactly, along with their name. This is very important. What does annexure 2 refer to? A direct question can come up in exam from this. Like in my attempt, it was what does annexure 2 refer to, whether it is 2-3 options were given, like personal licensing, rules of the air, and transportation facilitation, all these things. So one annexure would definitely come in your attempt. Moving forward, we have freedoms of air. All the 3 freedoms should be read and remembered thoroughly. It is very important, and it will also help you in the long term, okay, in studying RT and all the things. So yeah. Another, we have leasing, wet lease and dry lease difference. Okay, and direct question in case of definition, like definition types can come up from leasing. Moving forward, we have the measurements of nationality, common mark, and registration mark on the aircraft. You have to remember the dimensions, 30 centimeter to 50 centimeter and all. This would be a direct question. Again, certificate of registration, country wise, and what are the rules by which the convention, the certificate of registration convention is made. Again, cancellation of the registration, in what cases it will be cancelled, it will be considered cancelled, and in what cases it will not be considered cancelled. Both the things. Now last thing, nationality symbols assigned to Indian aircrafts, that is the Victor Tango. Okay, and don't remember this thing of each and every country, it's not important, but for India it is important, for military aircrafts it is important, for helicopters it is important. You should remember all the three. Moving on to another chapter that is very very important, rules of the air. In this we have the general rules of air is the first topic, and it's very important, whether it is for acrobatic flights or dropping of spray or overtaking another aircraft or landing or taking off in low visibility conditions. All these things, the different paragraphs are given, all these are very very important. Again, I said you a lot of things would be there in this book that are vast, but we have to remember all the things because regulations is all about theory and theory. So again, lights to be displayed from when to when. This is a very important question. A direct question would be there in your attempt. Lights, whether it is anti-collision or navigation lights, it have to be displayed on the aircraft from when to when, and the answer you must be knowing, from sunset to sunrise. Now, flight plan. In flight plan, we have different item number, different boxes made, and you have to remember what does box number 15 mean, what do we insert in box number 15, what do we insert in box number 7, whether it is registration mark or equipment list, all these things. Again, in communications we have two, according to this chapter, VMC and failure. In VMC conditions, what communication procedures do we follow, and in communication failure, what squawk codes do we use. Okay. Again, visual ground signals and aircraft marshalling signals are very very important, whether it is a black dumbbell on the yellow sheet and signals. Marshalling signals would be there. This could be in two ways, like they can either give you a diagram wise, but I don't think diagram wise would be there. Generally instructions would be there, like a man is marshalling and one hand is down, another one is whirling up in the sky, and there are the flashlights, or you can say the lighted up lights in his hand, and what does it mean to you as a pilot. Another one, that is IFR, VFR and special VFR. All these three are very very important. The conditions, what is the visibility limitation, 1500 meters, 3000 meters, what is the height extensions, in what airspaces can we fly these. And again, just following this, we have the phraseologies, but in phraseology for regulations is really really not important. If you are following RK Bali, then please ignore that phraseology part, just make a cross over it. It's not important in regulations, no question would be there. Another one is the classification of airspaces in India. All the airspaces are equally important. In the, I think, middle of the book, a table kind of is given. In middle of the chapter, I'm really sorry, middle of the chapter, a table kind of is given in which all the airspaces along with their limitations and all is given. So you can just take a summarized form of that and just remember that. Now again, FIRs and location indicators, all the four FIRs are very very important. Their codes VO, VE, VI and VA are very very important. Prohibited, restricted and danger areas may difference. All the three are different, and you should remember 2 to 3 examples of each of the areas. Again, now I'll just take the name as you already know. FIS and voice. Now FIS, voice ATIS, alerting services, ATS routes in India for strayed aircrafts as well, and indications of Kilo, Uniform, Sierra and Foxtrot. These 4 routes are very very important, and you should remember all the 4 along with their proper definition. Another 3 topics that are very very important from the next chapter: principles of GNSS and aircraft VOR. Principles to be remembered by heart. It will also be helpful in your navigation as well as your meteorology in some way, and for RTR it is definitely important. Again, performance based navigation comprising RNAV, RNP routes, everything has to be remembered by heart. These 2 topics are very very important. Now another one that is very vast, and people generally ask that should we remember all the longitudinal or vertical separations, like either it is we should remember it in timings or nautical miles. Guys, you have to remember it in both the ways. I know these are a lot in number, and just don't worry, don't read the whole theory. At the end of the chapter, a summary kind of is given in which everything is written in shorthand, the longitudinal separation as well and the vertical as well, and in that summary kind of only the important things are written. So just follow that summary and you'll be good to go. Now wake turbulence categories are given, but this will come in detail in the later chapters, but from here you can just remember the definitions and what is the idea all about. Again, coefficient of friction is very important, whether it is 0.3, 0.2. There's a table kind of given and you have to remember that. Again, wind shear advisories is an important topic, and the last one, ADS-B, is a very very important topic. Just remember the principle, read all the paragraphs, and that's it. Now we move to some documentation part in which we have the AIPs, EAIPs, NOTAMs, AREC, AICs, AIP parts, that is the general, en route and aerodrome, all the three parts, and PIBs and ASBS. So yeah, all these things are very important. I know these are a lot in number, but we have to remember the definition, because 2 to 3 of these would surely come up when the short questions could come up, and for these you have to read the whole theory very thoroughly. Again, in this one, most important and expected question is period. It is issued on a period of how many days, and the validity of these things. And complete summary of these is given on 1st of January, and 1st of each month a checklist is provided. So these two questions are very important and expected. Again, we have the search and rescue national provisions. Why this was introduced in the civil aviation, there's a paragraph kind of given. Just make sure you read it really well. Again, signs with surface craft, like what all signs do we see, whether it is cross, a TTT, all these things. Symbols that are displayed from ground to air, again the symbols and all. Air to ground signals, what signals does the aircraft provide in air to the ground people. In this you'll also get that colored cans, green is for what, blue is for what, and red is for what, and this is an important question. And satellite aided search and rescue is also given. This was my favorite chapter, by the way, in regulations. Now again, we have headed to the most important and bulky chapters, and in this we have the runway, apron safety lines, taxiway markings, VOR aiming point markings, and aerodrome checkpoint markings. In the threshold marking, we should also remember there's a table kind of. Again, in this we have written number of stripes along with the width, and this is very important. It is on a difference. So I think I told you this trick in my regulations, the detailed video in which I followed, like the number of strips and the difference between 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. And if you wanna follow that, then please check out my regulations detailed video. I have discussed it in detail. Again, the runway and taxiway markings, whether it is 2 digits or 3 digits, this is an important thing. Again, lighting of approach beacon, emergency lights, runway edge lights, taxiway center line markings, runway center line markings, blue, green, yellow, all the different colors, apron safety line markings, emergency beacons, orange light or red light. A very detailed topic, and you have to read it in detail. Again, Cat 2, Cat 3 runways, PAPI and APAPI lights, standway lights, and stopway lights and clearway lights are also equally important. Instruction signs, location signs, and mandatory signs are very important, whether it is red on black, red on white, yellow on black, black on yellow, all these things. And a difference of because generally what you see in the book, like it's yellow or black, you don't pay so much attention to that, because we also see these things on the road itself, like yellow or black. These colors are very common, but do remember the color is very important in the exam, because you'll be confused. You think you are done with the location signs, but when it comes there, they give you a question in such a manner, like it's whether it is black on yellow or yellow on black, and you'll be confused. So do remember these colors very specifically. Again, TORA, TODA, ASDA, LDA, stopway, clearway, distances, dimensions. We have the accelerated stop distance available. में क्या क्या involved है, whether it is TORA plus LDA, TORA plus stopway, all these things. Another important topic, document 8168, in which we have the flight procedures. Obstacle clearance is also there. SIDS and STARS are equally important. Different type of departures are very important. GBAS is important. Category of aircrafts according to speeds is very important. In my attempt, I received in which category the aircraft with less than 121 knot speed comes, and I did that wrong. So yeah, precision approach, missed approach, and Cat 1, Cat 2 categories. Again, we have already studied that in the previous chapter, but here also it is in detail, and you should remember it. Holding procedures are equally important. Like also SSR and altimeter setting procedures are also important, but in holding procedures, parallel, offset, and direct entries are also very important, whether it is that race course kind of, in which we have that parallel, offset, and direct entries. The difference between the three is very important. Transponder and ACAS may there's a whole paragraph kind of given, and you should read it thoroughly. Transponder codes, mode A, mode C, mode Sierra, and how many codes are there, for what purpose is this used, and what codes do we squawk? 7700, 7600, 7500, universal ident 2000. Okay. Now we have aircraft rules, carriage of cabin crew, and public health rules. From public health rules, I received one question of yellow fever, I think. Public health rules में से एक question would be there surely, so do remember it by heart. Again, personal licensing, I know this is a very vast thing, and I personally didn't study the whole paragraphs in this, I'll be honest. I just studied about the educational qualification, the validity of medical certificate, medical fitness, and knowledge of aircraft, and the privileges of the license. I just studied this, the years at which it is issued, and all the basic things. I didn't go in too much detail because RK Bali consists this thing in very detail, and I didn't find that too much what do you call it, too much needed for the DGC exam. So I just skipped that. So moving forward, we have the MEL or MMEL, the minimum equipment list, and who's the operator, who's the issuing operator. A direct question would be there. Now again, we have the fuel smoke, decompression, bird strike, microburst, Varga definition is very important. Now wake turbulence categories we've already discussed, but in this also we have the separation minimas. I know it's in so much detail, but we have to remember that the separation minima for wake turbulence as well. Again, fuel jetsoning and dynamic hydroplaning. Dynamic hydroplaning is very important topic, and the questions from this paragraph would be direct, like just sentence to sentence, word to word. Braking action on contaminated runway and hydroplaning, both these things are very important. Read them very thoroughly. Now scale of readability, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, unreadable, readable but with difficulty. All these scales should be remembered. CAV OK, 10 km or more visibility, RVR, and METARS, PESI, TAF, Trent, AirMet. All these definitions, their validity periods should be remembered. I know this is a part of MET, but in regulations it is also there, so we have to remember it. Now distress and urgency procedures are very important. Range of CPDLC and ADSB we have already covered in ADSB, but for CPDLC we have to remember this thing. Coming on to the last ones, we have the difference between incident and accident, investigation procedures, and serious injury. Definition of serious injury is very important. Definition of incident and accident separately. Difference between the two is very important. Now custom requirements and custom duty on aircraft when it is coming from other country. Facilitation definition is very important, and that's it. Now coming on to the most important chapter, the Dada of regulations, that is human performance and limitations. For the first 10 to 15 pages, it's RK Bali sometimes it just gives you everything in detail, and for the first 10 to 15 pages the topics are in so much detail that first two definitions and the values are only important, and the rest of the definition, it's totally for biology students, it's not for us. So I left that. According to me, I felt that it was in too much detail, but for the last 50 to 60 pages, it's very important. Everything they have discussed, whether it is the crew, CRM, crew resource management, or the circadian cycle, definitely very important thing. All the timings and all is very important. Stages of sleep is very important again. So what you do, I would just suggest a simple thing. Do all the questions of human performance and limitations. Don't just study this chapter for the last 10 days. Just practice the questions, and the questions should be very nicely done, because questions are the only important things that we are left with this chapter, and they could make you secure 10 marks. If human performance and limitations comes in bulk and you're thorough with the questions, then you can secure your 10 marks aram se. So this is the thing, and that's all. So that's all with the last 10 days exam preparation. If you have done this thing in thorough and you have followed each and everything that I said in the important topics, then you will be clearing the exam in your first go, and very easily. So I wish you all the luck, all the best, and do share your feedback in the comment section if this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, then please subscribe it and hit that bell icon. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys the next time, and keep flying.